The electric razor buzzed to life at 2:47 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon. Westfield Mall, third floor, 300 people watching. And Aria Roberts's scream, raw, animal, desperate, cut through the designer boutiques and coffee shops like a siren. Her stepsister Maya held the razor steady. Security guards gripped Aria's arms, and chunk by chunk, her hair fell to the marble floor in thick black coils that her dead mother had taught her to love every Sunday morning while humming gospel songs. The crowd didn't help. They filmed. They whispered. Some of them laughed. Here's what Maya didn't know while she was publicly destroying the woman sitting in that chair. The man watching from the second-floor balcony, the one in the $15,000 suit who looked like he owned the building, wasn't just another shocked bystander recording on his phone. Jin Huang had spent 7 years searching every corner of 2 continents for the woman now screaming 30 feet below him. 7 years building himself. From a starving street kid in Seoul into the kind of man who controlled half of Korea's underground with 3 phone calls. 7 years becoming powerful enough to protect the only person who'd ever treated him like he was worth saving. And he'd just watched someone violate her. In 4 days, Maya would lose her fiancé, her money, her social standing, her freedom. But here's what nobody tells you about what happens when you publicly humiliate the first love of Seoul's most dangerous man. It's not just revenge, it's systematic erasure. It's the kind of destruction that makes you believe the universe actually keeps score. This is the true story of how one act of cruelty in a shopping mall destroyed 3 women's entire lives in 96 hours and built something beautiful from the ashes. Before we get into the destruction, and trust me, what Jin does to these women is surgical, hit that subscribe button right now. Because next week we're dropping the story of how Jin and Aria met 7 years ago in Seoul when she was a nursing student and he was sleeping in alleys, and it's going to make you believe in fate. Don't miss it. Subscribe. Now let's rewind to 14 hours earlier and I'll show you exactly how we got here. Friday night, 11:43 p.m. Aria's hands were covered in blood. Not hers. The 6-year-old boy's. Car accident. Multi-vehicle pileup on the expressway. The kid had come in coding and Aria, senior ICU nurse at Sinclair Medical Center, 19 hours into her shift, had been wrist-deep in his chest cavity doing compressions while Dr. Patel barked orders and the residents looked like they might pass out. They'd saved him. Here's what you need to understand about Aria Roberts. She was the kind of nurse who pulled double shifts because the hospital was understaffed, the kind who stayed late to hold a dying patient's hand, the kind who actually gave a damn in a system designed to burn that out of you. She was good at her job, better than good, and she was exhausted in ways that went bone deep. Her phone had been ringing for an hour, 47 missed calls, all from her stepmother, Catherine. Catherine never called. She sent passive-aggressive text messages, left printed notes on Aria's bedroom door with instructions for chores. But phone calls? That meant something was wrong. Or someone was angry. Aria pulled off her bloody gloves, stripped out of her scrubs in the locker room, and called back. Catherine answered on the first ring. Where are you? Not a question, a statement, ice cold and sharp enough to cut. Hospital. We had a mass casualty incident. Do you have any idea what day it is? Aria's mind raced. Saturday, October 14th. Nothing special. Her father's birthday wasn't until December. No holidays. Nothing on the family calendar that... Maya's engagement celebration, Catherine hissed. The one we've been planning for 3 months. The one where she's meeting Richard's parents for the first time. The one where you were supposed to handle the catering setup. Aria's stomach dropped. No. The party is today? You said next Saturday. I wrote it in my planner. You specifically said... I said this Saturday. God, Aria, are you really this incompetent? Here's what gaslighting does to your brain. It makes you question your own memory, your own sanity. You know what you heard. You know what was said. But the other person is so confident, so certain, that doubt creeps in like poison. Arya knew Catherine had said next Saturday. She'd confirmed it twice. But Catherine's voice held zero doubt. And Arya started to wonder if maybe she'd been wrong. "I was saving a child's life," Arya said quietly. "There was an accident on the expressway. A 6-year-old boy. Nobody cares about your hero stories." Catherine's voice went sharp, cruel. Maya is in tears. The caterers showed up and nobody was there to let them in. They left. Richard's family thinks we're disorganized white trash. Do you understand? What you've done? I was at work, where I'm legally required to be, where people's lives depend on. The line went dead. Arya stood in the hospital parking lot at midnight, swaying on her feet from exhaustion, and stared at her phone. She could ignore it. Go to her tiny basement bedroom in Catherine's house, her father's house, the one that should have been hers, lock the door, and sleep for 16 hours. But then she remembered the lawyer's words at the will reading 3 years ago. Everything transfers to Catherine until Arya turns 25, at which point the house and all investments revert to Arya's name. Any violation of household rules or family agreements can be grounds for contesting the will. 2 more years. Just 24 months of swallowing disrespect, accepting abuse, playing the good stepdaughter. Then she'd have her father's house, the investments, the insurance money Catherine had been spending like water. Then she'd be free. Arya got in her car and drove to Westfield Mall. Saturday, 12:11 p.m. She found them on the 3rd floor. Maya stood in the center of a shopping bag hurricane wearing a white dress that cost more than Arya's car payment. Her twin sister Sophia lounged against a marble column scrolling through Instagram. Catherine examined fabric swatches with the intensity of a jeweler appraising diamonds. They didn't see Arya approach. Here's what people don't understand about financial abuse. It's not always dramatic. It's not screaming and hitting. Sometimes it's just constant. The dress you're forced to buy for someone else. The alterations you can't afford but have to pay for anyway. The 1,000 small cuts that bleed you dry while keeping you legally trapped. "I'm telling you," Maya whined to Sophia, her voice carrying across the polished floors. She did this on purpose. She knew how important today was, and she deliberately sabotaged it because she's jealous. "Obviously she's jealous," Sophia said without looking up from her phone. "You're marrying a hedge fund manager. She's scrubbing literal shit for $30 an hour." "Girls," Catherine said, but her tone held a warning that meant not in public rather than that's cruel. Arya could see the small smile playing at her stepmother's lips. "I'm here," Arya announced. 3 heads swiveled. Maya's eyes went wide, then calculating. That look Arya had learned to recognize as danger. Sophia smirked. Catherine's face remained blank, but her nostrils flared slightly. The tell Arya had learned meant barely suppressed rage. "You're late," Catherine said. Arya checked her phone. "You said 30 minutes. It's been 28. Don't get smart with me." Here's the moment Arya should have walked away. Should have turned around, gotten back in her car, driven to the hospital administrator's office, and asked about emergency housing assistance for staff in crisis. But she'd spent 3 years being the good stepdaughter. 3 years taking the abuse because the alternative was losing her father's legacy. "I'm here now," Arya said carefully. "What do you need?" Catherine's smile was cold. "The caterers left. The party is postponed until next weekend. Maya's future in-laws think we're common. And it's your fault." "I was at the hospital saving a child's life." "Oh, here we go," Sophia groaned. The hero nurse speech again. "Nobody cares, Arya." "I pulled 3 people out of burning cars today. One of them was a 6-year-old boy who—" "Do you think," Maya interrupted, stepping closer, "that being useful makes you important?" She was wearing Chanel perfume, Prada shoes, a Gucci bag that cost more than Arya made in 2 months. "Because it doesn't," Maya continued. "You know what you are? Your dad's charity case, the daughter from his first marriage that he felt guilty about." The words landed like physical blows. That's not… My parents didn't… Didn't what? Maya pulled out her phone, swiped through screens with her manicured nails. Didn't split up because your mom was boring and dad wanted something better? She turned the phone toward Arya, a photo of a document, her parents' marriage certificate. And there, handwritten in the margin in her father's handwriting, doing the right thing, even if it's not what I want. The mall sounds faded to white noise. Arya stared at her father's handwriting, that familiar slant she'd seen on birthday cards and permission slips, and the note he'd left her the day before he died saying, "You're my princess, always." Except he hadn't meant it. She'd been an obligation, a mistake he'd been forced to acknowledge. Every memory reframed itself in an instant. Every time he'd called her princess. Every bedtime story. Every bike riding lesson. All of it now tainted with the knowledge that she'd been a burden he'd shouldered out of duty, not love. "Where did you get that?" Arya's voice came out broken. "Mom's safe, along with Dad's real will, the one he wrote before cancer made him sentimental. The only reason you get anything is because dying made him weak and guilty." Here's what Maya was doing. She was destroying Arya's foundation, taking the one good thing she had, her memories of her father, and burning them to ash. And it was working. "Maya, that's enough," Catherine said, but her tone was bored, performative. She was checking her phone, distracted. "No, Mom, she needs to understand her place." Maya invaded Arya's space, close enough that Arya could see her pores under the Instagram makeup. "You're not family. You're not even a real person to us. You're just a placeholder. Something Dad felt guilty about before he married someone who actually mattered." Sophia laughed. "Damn, Maya." Arya felt something crack inside her chest. Not break. Breaking implies clean edges, the possibility of repair. This was a shattering. "I'm leaving," she said. "No, you're not." Catherine's head snapped up, phone forgotten. "You're going to help Maya find a dress, pay for the alterations like I told you, and then go home and prepare the guest room. Richard's parents are staying with us this weekend since you ruined the party." "I said I'm leaving." "And I said, you're not." Catherine's voice dropped to that dangerous whisper she used in public. "Unless you want me to call the police and report the $15,000 in diamond earrings you stole from my bedroom last week." Arya's breath caught. "What?" "My Cartier earrings went missing. I'm sure they'll turn up in your room if the police search it." It was a bluff. Had to be. But Catherine's eyes were dead serious, and Arya knew. This woman would plant evidence if it meant maintaining control. "You wouldn't? Try me." The standoff lasted 8 seconds. Then Maya's phone chimed. "Oh my God." Her face went pale, then red. "Richard just posted on Instagram. He's here, at the mall, with his parents." "What?" Catherine snatched the phone. "I forgot to check messages because I was dealing with Arya's disaster." Maya's voice climbed toward hysteria. "They're on the second floor right now. What if they see me like this? I look terrible." Arya thought Maya looked like she always did. 2 hours of professional makeup and designer everything, but she stayed quiet. "Fix it," Catherine snapped at Arya, shoving her toward the escalator. "Whatever it takes, keep them downstairs until Maya is presentable." "How am I supposed to figure it out?" Catherine's shove was hard enough to make Arya stumble. "You're good at being useful, right? Be useful." Arya caught herself on the escalator railing, looked back at the 3 women who'd made her life hell for 3 years. She could walk away right now. Just turn around and leave. And never come back and deal with the consequences later. But then she thought about police reports. Planted evidence. Her nursing license destroyed before her career even started. So she went down to the second floor. Here's what nobody tells you about being trapped. Sometimes the cage isn't even locked. Sometimes you just can't see the open door because you're too terrified of what's waiting outside. Richard Blackwood III looked exactly like his name suggested. Old money, new arrogance, the kind of bland handsome that came from generations of wealthy people marrying other wealthy people to preserve the genetic lottery. His parents flanked him like matching bookends. Father in a golf polo that cost more than Arya's monthly rent. Mother in pearls that probably had their own insurance policy. They were standing outside Tiffany and Company, discussing something in low, important voices. Arya approached with no actual plan. "Excuse me," she said. "Richard?" He turned. Expression polite but distant. The look of someone used to being approached by strangers who wanted things. "Yes? I'm Arya. Maya's sister." The word tasted like battery acid. "She wanted me to let you know she's running a few minutes late. Dress-fitting situation." Richard's mother perked up. "Oh, how lovely. Another sister." Maya mentioned she had family helping with the wedding planning. Family. Right. "Yes, ma'am, I'm just—" "You're a nurse," Richard's father interrupted, pointing at her scrubs visible under her jacket. "Arya Roberts? Maya mentioned you work at Sinclair Medical." "That's right, sir. My brother had surgery there last month. Triple bypass. The nursing staff was exceptional. Literally saved his life. We try our best. It's honest work," Mrs. Blackwood said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. The pause before honest told Arya everything she needed to know about what this woman really thought of her. "Here's what you need to understand about old money. They don't say cruel things directly. They don't need to. They just pause. Imply. Let you fill in the blanks with your own insecurities because they know you will. It's more effective than shouting. It's scalpel-precise, psychological warfare." "Well," Arya said, forcing brightness into her voice, "Maya should be ready in about 10 minutes if you'd like to." "There you are!" Maya's voice rang out like a gunshot in the shopping center's acoustics. Arya turned to find her stepsister striding toward them with Catherine and Sophia flanking her like an advancing army. But something was different. Maya's face had transformed from Instagram perfection to twisted rage. Real rage, not the performative kind she used for sympathy points. "How dare you?" Maya hissed as she got closer. "What are you—" "Don't play innocent." She was nearly shouting now, shoppers stopping mid-stride, staring, pulling out phones. "I saw the messages. I saw what you've been doing." Richard stepped forward, concerned. "Maya, sweetheart, what's wrong?" But Maya ignored him completely. Her entire focus locked on Arya like a heat-seeking missile finding its target. "You've been texting my fiancé," Maya announced to the growing crowd of onlookers. "Sending him pictures, trying to seduce him, behind my back like the desperate little—" The accusation was so absurd, so completely disconnected from reality, that Arya actually laughed. Biggest mistake she could have made. "You think this is funny?" Maya shrieked, and the tears started, perfectly timed, perfectly placed. "You think destroying my relationship is funny?" She turned to Richard, her voice breaking in exactly the right places. Oscar-worthy performance. "Show them," she sobbed. "Show everyone what she sent you last night." Richard looked genuinely confused. "Maya, I don't know what your phone, Richard. Check your messages from last night." He pulled out his phone with the careful movements of someone who suspects they're about to step on a landmine but can't see where it's buried. Swiped through screens. His face went pale. I don't understand. These are from Arya's number, but I didn't." He turned the phone toward his parents. Arya couldn't see the screen, but she could see their reactions. Shock, disgust, disappointment. The mother's hand went to her pearls like she was clutching them for protection from contamination. "Those aren't from me," Arya said, her voice steady despite the panic rising in her chest like floodwater. "I've never texted Richard. I don't even have his number." "Liar!" Sophia chimed in, pulling out her own phone like she'd been waiting for this cue. "I saw them too. You sent them at 2 a.m. last night. Pictures of yourself in lingerie, telling him you'd be better for him than Maya, that you'd do things Maya wouldn't." That's insane. Richard, I swear to you, I never. Don't speak to my son, Mrs. Blackwood said coldly, stepping between them like Arya was radioactive. You've done quite enough. But I didn't do anything. The evidence speaks for itself. Mr. Blackwood took his wife's arm, already turning away. Richard, we're leaving. This family clearly has internal issues that need to be resolved privately. Here's what was happening. Arya could see it with crystal clarity now. They'd faked the messages, photoshopped screenshots, created an entire false narrative using her number, her name, probably some photos they'd stolen from her social media, created evidence to destroy her in front of the one family whose opinion mattered to Catherine's social climbing. Wait, Arya said desperately. I can prove I didn't send those. I was at the hospital last night. I can show you my time card. Dr. Patel can verify. Stop talking! Maya screamed. Here's the performance. Watch this. Maya's voice broke perfectly. Tears streamed down her face at exactly the right moment. Her body language screamed victim, shoulders hunched, hands trembling, the picture of wounded innocence. I thought I could help you, Maya said, her voice carrying across the marble floors to the growing crowd of phone-wielding strangers. When Dad died and you had nothing, we gave you a home. We treated you like family. I tried to be your sister. Lies. All lies. But delivered with such conviction that Arya could see people in the crowd nodding along. But you're toxic, Maya continued. You're jealous of everything I have. You've always wanted what's mine, and now you're trying to steal my fiancé? That's not true. I think, Catherine said, her voice cutting through the chaos like a scalpel through flesh, that Arya needs to learn about consequences. She turned to Arya, and the look in her eyes was pure calculation, cold, mathematical. This wasn't anger. This was chess. You've embarrassed this family for the last time. I didn't do anything, Arya's voice cracked. You know I didn't. You made this up. Did we? Catherine pulled out her phone, swiped through screens with deliberate slowness. Because I have security footage from our home showing you in Maya's room at 2 a.m. last night, using her laptop. In the dark. Another lie. Arya had been at the hospital at 2 a.m., running compressions, on a coding patient while Dr. Patel called out medications. Her supervisor could verify. The security cameras at Sinclair could prove it. But the Blackwoods didn't know that. The crowd with their phones out didn't know that. All they saw was a woman in wrinkled, blood-stained scrubs being accused by a family in Chanel and Prada. All they heard was her desperate denials against their calm certainty. In the court of public opinion, Arya had already been convicted. You want to play victim? Maya whispered, stepping close enough that only Arya could hear. Let me show you what a real victim looks like. Then Maya slapped herself. Hard. Her head snapped to the side from the force. When she turned back, there was a red handprint blooming across her cheek, and her eyes were wide with theatrical shock. She hit me? Maya screamed. Oh my God, she hit me. Time seemed to slow down. Arya watched it happen like she was outside her own body. What? No. She raised her hands defensively. I didn't touch her. I saw it. Sophia was already recording on her phone, the camera pointed at Maya's reddening cheek. She slapped Maya right across the face. You're lying, I never… Someone call security! Catherine shouted to the crowd. This woman just assaulted my daughter. The crowd surged closer. Phones everywhere, all pointed at Arya. She could see herself on their screens, wild-eyed, desperate, defensive body language that looked like guilt to anyone who didn't know the truth. This was it. This was the trap closing. Not subtle manipulation over 2 years, not gradual erosion of her spirit. This was instant public destruction designed to cost her everything in one perfectly orchestrated moment. Her nursing license, her career, her freedom, her future. Please, Arya whispered, looking at the crowd, at the Blackwoods, at anyone who might help. Please, someone. I didn't do anything. This isn't. But nobody moved. Nobody helped. They just watched, filmed, whispered to each other about the drama unfolding in front of them like it was entertainment. Like she wasn't a real person whose entire life was being destroyed. Maya smiled. Small, satisfied. The smile of someone who'd just won. Then she nodded at Sophia. And Sophia pulled an electric razor from her designer shopping bag. Here's what you need to understand about cruelty. The most effective kind targets what you love most about yourself. The thing you're most proud of. The piece of your identity that makes you feel beautiful or worthy or connected to something important. Maya knew exactly what that was for Arya. What is that? Arya backed away. What are you doing? Teaching you, Maya said softly, her voice almost gentle, which made it more terrifying. What happens when you try to take what's mine? 2 security guards appeared. Large men. Former cops, maybe, based on the way they moved. They grabbed Arya's arms without asking questions, without requesting her side of the story, because someone had clearly briefed them beforehand about exactly what was about to happen. Let go of me! Arya struggled. They were too strong. You can't do this. Someone call the police. Someone help me. But the crowd just watched. Nobody intervened. Nobody called for help. They just kept filming. Catherine materialized with a folding chair from somewhere. Had she planned this? How long had they been planning this? And the guards forced Arya into it. Her phone started ringing in her pocket. She couldn't reach it, couldn't answer. But she could hear it buzzing, see the name flashing on the screen pressed against her leg. Unknown number. It rang twice, then stopped. Someone had tried to call her. She'd never know who. You know what the best part is? Maya knelt down so they were eye level, the razor buzzing in her hand like an angry wasp. Your hair. You're so proud of it, always wearing it natural, making those little comments about embracing your roots and representation matters, and loving yourself. The razor buzzed louder. Let's see how much you love yourself after this. Please! Arya's scream was raw, animal, the sound of someone whose humanity was being stripped away in real time. Don't do this. Maya, please, I'm begging you. I'll leave. I'll give up the inheritance. I'll never contact you again. Please. Maya's smile widened. Too late. She pressed the razor to Arya's scalp. The first strip of hair fell away, thick black coils tumbling to the white marble floor, exposing skin that had never seen sunlight. Arya felt the cold air on her scalp, the vibration of the razor against her skull, her identity being stripped away in methodical rows. Her mother's hair. The hair her mother had taught her to care for every Sunday morning, to oil and braid and love in a world that told her it was wrong, that it was unprofessional, that she should straighten it or hide it or change it to be acceptable. Her mother, who died when Arya was 16, leaving her, with a head full of beautiful coils and the memory of gentle hands teaching her that she was perfect exactly as she was, gone. Being destroyed by a woman who'd never worked a day in her life, who'd never been told she was less than, who'd never had to fight to love herself in a world designed to make that impossible. Here's what happens in your brain during trauma. Time distorts. Sounds become muffled and distant. You disconnect from your body because staying present hurts too much, so your consciousness floats somewhere above yourself, watching like you're watching a stranger. Dissociation. Your brain's emergency shutoff valve. Arya stopped struggling somewhere around the 3rd strip of hair, stopped crying around the 5th. Just sat there, numb, while her stepsister methodically shaved her head in front of hundreds of strangers who would post this online, who would make her a meme, who would share and comment and laugh while she lost the last piece of her mother she had left. Maya. Press the razor to Arya's scalp for the final strip. Just one more pass and it would be complete. Arya had stopped screaming, gone silent, dissociated. Maya smiled, savoring the moment. "Last one," she said, "and then you're—" "Stop." The voice came from directly behind her. Male, accented, cold enough to freeze blood. Maya's hand froze mid-air, razor still buzzing. She turned. A man stood 5 feet away. Expensive suit. Dark eyes burning with barely controlled rage. 3 men in black suits flanking him like weapons. But it was the way he was looking at Arya that made Maya's stomach drop. Like she was his entire world. Like he was 1 second away from murder. "Who the hell are you?" Maya demanded, trying to sound confident. The man's eyes finally moved to her. And Maya actually took a step back. "My name is Jin Huang," he said quietly. "And you have 3 seconds to get away from her before I forget I'm trying to be civilized." "This is none of your business," Catherine snapped, stepping forward. "This is a family matter." "Family?" Jin's voice went even quieter, more dangerous. "You're not her family. You're parasites who married her father for money." He moved forward. His security team moved with him. The 2 security guards holding Arya suddenly found themselves facing Jin's men. Professional, armed, deadly. The guards let go of Arya's arms immediately and stepped back. "Smart choice," one of Jin's men said in perfect English. Jin walked straight to Arya, knelt down in front of her, gently took the razor from Maya's frozen hand and turned it off. "Arya," he said softly, "look at me." Arya's eyes were distant, dissociated, but at his voice, something flickered. She focused on his face. Recognition dawned slowly. "Jin?" she whispered. "I'm here," he said. "I'm so sorry I didn't come sooner, but I'm here now, and no one's ever touching you again." He stood and faced Catherine, Maya, and Sophia. "Here's what's about to happen," Jin said calmly. "You 3 are going to back away from her. You're going to stand very still, and you're going to wait for the police to arrive and arrest you." Maya laughed. Actually laughed. "Arrest US? For what? She's the one who tried to seduce my fiancé. She attacked me." She pointed at her self-inflicted red cheek. "We have witnesses," Sophia added, gesturing to the crowd. "You have phones filming," Jin corrected, "which means you have evidence of your own crimes." He pulled out his phone, showed them a video. Maya's face went white. On Jin's screen was security footage, Maya at her computer, photoshopping the fake text messages, timestamp clearly visible. Maya in her bathroom, practicing slapping herself in the mirror. Catherine and Sophia at breakfast that morning, planning the whole thing. All of it. Every detail. "Your home security system," Jin said pleasantly. "The one you thought was turned off?" "My people have been monitoring it for 6 weeks, since I arrived in the country and started watching Arya to make sure she was safe." "That's illegal," Catherine started. "So is assault, fraud, bribery of police officers." Jin gestured to the 2 security guards. "Yes, I know you're both off-duty cops, and I know exactly how much Catherine paid you. $500 each." The guards' faces went gray. "So here's the situation," Jin continued. "The police are already on their way. I called them 4 minutes ago when you started shaving her head. They'll be here in about 90 seconds. "You can't do this!" Maya shrieked. "Do you have any idea who my fiancé is? Richard Blackwood's family has connections. They'll destroy you." Jin smiled. It was terrifying. "Why don't you call him?" Jin suggested. "See if he wants to help you?" Maya pulled out her phone with shaking hands. "Called Richard." "Richard, thank God. There's this man here threatening us and—" She stopped. Her face went from red to white in 2 seconds. "What do you mean you can't help? Richard? Richard!" She looked at the phone. He'd hung up. Catherine grabbed the phone and called Richard's father. "Mr. Blackwood, this is Catherine Roberts. There's been a terrible misunderstanding." She stopped mid-sentence, started nodding. Her hand started shaking. I understand. Of course, yes. I'm so sorry for..." The line went dead. She looked at Jin with dawning horror. What did you do? I introduced myself to the Blackwood family about an hour ago, Jin said calmly. Explained that I'm the CEO of Huang Industries. We hold about 40% of Blackwood Capital's commercial real estate debt. I suggested it would be unfortunate if Richard married into a family currently under investigation for fraud and assault. He paused. Mr. Blackwood was very understanding. Maya's phone buzzed. A text from Richard. My father has instructed me to inform you that our engagement is terminated effective immediately. Do not contact me or my family again. Our lawyers will be in touch regarding the return of the ring. Maya made a sound like a wounded animal. Sophia tried to run. Jin's men blocked her path. Sit down, one of them said quietly. It wasn't a request. Sophia sat. That's when the Blackwoods appeared. Richard, his father, and his mother, walking toward the scene with purpose. Catherine's face lit up with hope. Mr. Blackwood? Thank goodness you're here. This man is Mr. Huang, Blackwood Sr. said, completely ignoring Catherine. And then he bowed. A respectful bow. To Jin. The entire mall went silent. Mr. Blackwood? Jin said with a slight nod. Thank you for coming. Of course, when my business partner calls, I come. Blackwood turned to his son. Richard. I believe you have something to say to Mr. Huang. Richard stepped forward, looking sick. He bowed to Jin. I apologize, Mr. Huang. I had no idea about my former fiancé's character. If I had known she was capable of this, he gestured at Arya, still sitting in the chair surrounded by hair. Your apology is noted, Jin said coolly. But it's not me you should be apologizing to. Richard turned to Arya. Miss Roberts, I'm deeply sorry. I should have questioned those messages. You should leave, Arya said quietly. Her first word since Jin arrived. All of you. Just go. The Blackwoods left immediately. But before they did, Blackwood Sr. turned to Catherine one last time. For the record, Mrs. Roberts, Blackwood Capital will be withdrawing from all business dealings with anyone associated with your family. That includes the country club, the charity boards, and several mutual acquaintances. He looked at Maya with disgust. My son would have been miserable married to you. Mr. Huang did us a favor. They left. Maya collapsed onto the floor, sobbing. Catherine found her voice finally. You think you've won? She hissed at Jin. You have no idea who you're dealing with. I have lawyers. I have connections. Had, Jin corrected. Past tense. Because I spent the last 6 weeks systematically identifying everyone in your social circle and explaining to them exactly what kind of people you are. He pulled out his phone again, showed her a list of names. Catherine's face went from white to green. Every person on that list has already cut ties with you. The country club revoked your membership this morning. The charity boards removed you from all positions. Your friends have all blocked your number. That's impossible. It's done, Jin said. And that's just the social destruction. Want to hear about the financial part? He swiped to another screen. As of 2 hours ago, I own every debt you have. The house mortgage, the credit cards, the personal loans you took from those friends who are now ignoring you. All of it. Catherine's legs gave out. She sat down hard on the floor next to Maya. I'm calling it due, Jin continued. 72 hours to pay $1.8 million or I foreclose on everything. We can't pay that, Sophia whispered. I know, Jin said. That's the point. Sirens echoed through the mall. 6 police officers appeared, led by a detective in a suit. Mr. Huang, the detective said, we got your call. Detective Morrison, Jin said. Thank you for coming so quickly. He gestured to Catherine, Maya, and Sophia. These 3 women committed assault and battery on Arya Roberts. It's all on video. He gestured to the crowd. About 50 different angles. He pointed to the 2 security guards. Those two are off-duty officers Daniels and Rodriguez. They accepted $500 bribes to participate in the assault. The detective's face went hard. Is this true? Daniels tried to run. Jin's security stopped him. I'd say that's a confession, Jin said mildly. Detective Morrison nodded to his officers. Cuff them. All 5 of them. What? Catherine screamed as an officer pulled her arms behind her back. You can't arrest me. I didn't do anything. You orchestrated an assault, Detective Morrison said. You filed a false police report. Yes, we know about the one you were planning to file about stolen earrings. And you bribed police officers. He looked at her with disgust. You're going to jail, Mrs. Roberts. Maya was screaming as they cuffed her. This is illegal. You can't do this. My father was important. This is his house, his money. Your father's been dead for 3 years, Jin said coldly. And that money? You stole it from his daughter, the one you just assaulted. He stepped closer as the officer finished cuffing her. You're going to rot in jail, he said quietly. And I'm going to make sure of it. I'm hiring the best prosecutors. I'm filing civil suits. I'm making sure you spend years paying for what you did to her. Maya spat at him, missed. The officer yanked her away. You'll regret this, Catherine screamed as they dragged her toward the exit. You have no idea what you've started. I know exactly what I started, Jin said. Justice. They took all 5 of them away. Catherine, Maya, and Sophia screaming. The 2 cops silent and pale, the crowd filming every second. When they were gone, Jin turned to Arya. And that is how you handle people who think they're untouchable. Jin didn't negotiate, didn't make deals. He destroyed them publicly, got them arrested, and made sure they'd rot in jail. If you're sitting there thinking, this is the justice I needed to see, subscribe right now. Because next week we're dropping how Jin built an empire in 10 years just to come back for his childhood love. You don't want to miss it. Hit that button. Now let's finish this. The mall was silent now. The crowd had dispersed, still filming, already posting. Jin walked slowly to Arya. She was still sitting in that chair, surrounded by her hair, staring at nothing. He knelt down in front of her. Arya, he said gently. They're gone. You're safe now. She looked at him. Really looked at him. You came back, she whispered. I promised I would, Jin said. 10 years ago, remember? Arya's eyes filled with tears. The night before you left for Seoul, you said you'd build something so big your parents couldn't control you anymore. That you'd come back for me. And I did, Jin said. I built Hwang Industries. Became powerful enough that my family can't tell me what to do. And I came back. He touched her shaved head gently. I just wish I'd come back sooner. You're here now, Arya said. That's all that matters. Jin pulled her to her feet. Then he did something that made the remaining onlookers gasp. He took off his suit jacket and draped it over her shoulders. Picked her up in his arms like she weighed nothing. What are you? I'm taking you home, Jin said simply. He carried her through the mall toward the exit, his security team clearing the path. Jin's car was waiting outside. Another, Mercedes, this one even more expensive than it looked. He set Arya down gently in the back seat, slid in next to her. Where are we going? Arya asked. Somewhere safe, Jin said. Somewhere they can never touch you again. The car pulled away from the mall. Arya watched the building disappear behind them. I can't believe you arrested them, she said. They committed crimes, Jin said simply. They're going to pay for them. For how long? As long as I can make it stick, Jin said. Assault and battery, fraud, bribery, filing false police reports. My lawyers are very good, Arya. They're looking at years, not months. Arya leaned against him. I thought I'd never see you again, she whispered. After your parents made you stop calling, after the letters stopped coming, I thought you'd forgotten about me. Never, Jin said fiercely. Not for one single day. He pulled her closer. Every business deal I made, I thought about you. Every risk I took, I imagined coming back and telling you about it. Every night for 10 years, I fell asleep thinking about the moment I'd see you again. I thought you'd moved on, Arya said. Found someone else. Someone your parents approved of. There's never been anyone else, Jin said. There could never be anyone else. You're it for me, Arya. Always have been. The car pulled up to a building, not a hotel. A luxury high-rise in Manhattan. I bought a penthouse here last year, Jin said. When I knew I was coming back. Wanted to have a place for us. For us? For us, Jin confirmed. He helped her out of the car, led her through a private entrance and into an elevator that went straight to the top floor. The penthouse was beautiful. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Modern furniture, clean lines. But what caught Arya's attention was the photos. On the wall, in frames, were pictures of them. From childhood, teenagers. The last photo taken the night before Jin left. You kept all of these? Arya whispered. I kept everything, Jin said. Every photo. Every letter you sent before my parents intercepted them. Every memory. He walked to her, cupped her face in his hands. I love you, Arya Roberts. I've loved you since we were kids. I loved you when we were separated. I loved you while I was building an empire to come back to you. And I'll love you for the rest of my life. Arya looked up at him. At the boy she'd loved, who'd become a man who could destroy her enemies. I love you too, she said. I never stopped. Jin kissed her. Gentle at first, then deeper. 10 years of separation and longing and promises pouring into that kiss. Arya's hands went to his shirt. Jin lifted her up. She wrapped her legs around his waist. Arya, he said against her lips. Are you sure? After what just happened? I need this, she said. I need to feel something good. I need to feel you. Jin carried her to the bedroom. Set her down gently on the bed. Then let me take care of you, he said. And he did. Slowly, carefully, worshipping every inch of her, reminding her that she was beautiful, wanted, loved. When it was over, they lay tangled together. Jin's fingers traced patterns on her bare back. Marry me, he said. Arya lifted her head to look at him. What? Marry me, Jin repeated. I know the timing is terrible. I know you just went through trauma. But I've waited 10 years to ask you this, and I'm not waiting anymore. You're serious? Completely serious, Jin said. I want to wake up next to you every day. I want to build a life with you. I want to give you everything your father should have left you, and everything those women tried to take away. He sat up, pulling her with him. Marry me, Arya. Let me spend the rest of my life making sure you're safe and happy and loved. Arya looked at him. At the man who'd spent 10 years keeping a promise, who'd destroyed her enemies without hesitation, who'd carried her out of that mall like she was precious. Yes, she said. Jin's smile was like sunrise. He kissed her again. And this time it was a promise of forever. 3 months later, Arya stood in front of a mirror. Her hair had grown back enough to curl softly around her face. She wore a simple white dress. Today was their wedding day. Jin came up behind her, wrapped his arms around her waist. You're beautiful, he said. I'm still bald, Arya said. You're perfect, Jin corrected. Here's what had happened in 3 months. Catherine, Maya, and Sophia had been convicted. Catherine got 3 years for orchestrating the assault. Maya got 2 years for the assault itself, plus fraud. Sophia got 18 months for conspiracy and bribery. All 3 were in prison. Their appeals had been denied. Jin had made sure of it. And Arya? Arya had moved into the penthouse, started therapy, started healing, started planning a life with the man who'd come back for her. Ready? Jin asked. I've been ready for 10 years, Arya said. They got married that afternoon in the penthouse. Just them and the efficient and the promises they'd made as teenagers finally coming true. When Jin kissed her as his wife, Arya thought about the girl she'd been. The one destroyed in a public mall. That girl was gone. In her place was someone stronger. Someone who'd survived. Someone loved. If this story made you believe that sometimes the villain actually goes to get karma, that sometimes childhood love survives everything, subscribe now. Next week, the full childhood story. Drop a comment. Do you believe in childhood loves that last forever? See you on the next one.